3 people have been arrested over Sunday's cable car crash in northern Italy, which killed 14 people and left only a 5-year-old boy alive. Police say the emergency brake was deactivated.
3 people were arrested on Wednesday over a weekend cable car crash in Italy that killed 14 people, leaving a 5-year-old boy as the sole survivor. The safety brake mechanism had been deactivated, police told Reuters, and prosecutors have opened an involuntary manslaughter and negligence investigation. The emergency brake had been kicking in repeatedly and stopping the cable car working as it should, a provincial Carabinieri chief told Italy's Rai broadcaster. On Sunday, it failed to engage at all, and the gondola slid backwards, apparently hitting a pylon, before it plunged to earth and rolled down a steep slope. The owner of Ferrovie Motorone, the company that manages the cableway, its director and the manager of the cableway were arrested. The cableway connected the town of Stresa, on the shores of Lake Maggiore in northern Italy, to a nearby mountain.
Amazon is buying one of Hollywood's most famous studios, MGM. The deal gives Amazon a huge library of films and TV shows to compete with streaming rivals like Netflix and Disney+. Zachary Gorman tells us more.
Amazon.com is buying the fabled Hollywood studio MGM. The nearly $8.5 billion deal announced Wednesday gives the e-commerce titan a massive film and TV library.
They're really not producing at a level that's competitive with Netflix or even others like an HBO or a Showtime. And so it's not surprising that they do want to get bigger in original content.
It's an arsenal of entertainment Amazon can use to compete against streaming rivals, and its biggest acquisition since it bought Whole Foods for $13.7 billion in 2017. An executive at Amazon Studios said, quote, "The real financial value behind this deal is the treasure trove of intellectual property in the deep catalog that we plan to reimagine and develop together with MGM's talented team." Privately held, MGM, or Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, was founded in 1924. The studio behind classics from Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz and the James Bond franchise also owns the Epix cable channel and makes the TV shows Fargo, Vikings, and Shark Tank.
Athlete and actor John Cena is facing backlash after apologizing to his Chinese fans for calling Taiwan a country. People are accusing him of appeasing the Chinese Communist Party for access to the China market. But a Hollywood producer says it's part of a bigger problem and that there's only one way to solve it.
John Cena is best known as a WWE star. He's also an actor and one that speaks Chinese, as many people found out for the first time on Tuesday. After he issued this on-camera apology in Mandarin to his Chinese fans. His mistake? Referring to Taiwan as a country. In the eyes of the Chinese Communist Party, it's part of mainland China, and saying otherwise will get you in a whole lot of trouble. Here's his apology.
我爱更尊重中国更中国人，我很抱歉对我的错误，对不起，我很抱歉。
This comes as Cena's latest film, Fast and Furious 9, hits movie theaters in China. But he's receiving a lot of backlash for his apology, as many Americans view it as yet another celebrity kowtowing to the CCP for the sake of monetary gain.
The criticism is 100% warranted. Whether he should be the target of it all, I do disagree with.
Chris Fenton is the former president of DMG Entertainment Motion Picture Group, and for about 2 decades, he worked on some of the biggest blockbuster movies. He also authored the book Feeding the Dragon, Inside the Trillion-Dollar Dilemma Facing Hollywood, the NBA, and American Business. Fenton knows all about what it's like to deal with the Chinese regime in order to access the China market. It was part of his job for many years. As for Cena's apology, Fenton says he believes Cena was just complying with his contract. And he says if Cena came out and stood by his Taiwan statement, he would just be replaced by another actor. So the problem needs to be solved at its root.
I really don't think he wanted to step into this controversy, but he did. And we need to use this as a catalyst to fix things.
He says no one actor or individual can fix this issue because the problem is systemic and not just limited to Hollywood, but businesses worldwide. Cena may be the catalyst, but Fenton says for real change to happen, the entertainment industry must rally behind Cena.
And hopefully us leading by example as the Hollywood community can then spread such a pushback and such a solidarity movement to help other companies that are also accessing the China market to rebalance and disrupt the relationship that they have with China right now that needs to be rectified.
He says not only does Hollywood need to unite behind Cena, but the whole of America and the Western world needs to put aside their differences and come together to push back against the Chinese Communist Party.
For the first time ever, Taiwan openly blamed China for blocking a vaccine deal with Germany, with accusations coming from the very highest level. On Wednesday, Taiwan President Tsai Ing-wen said, as for Germany's BioNTech, we were close to completing the contract with the original German plant. But because of China's intervention, up to now, there's been no way to complete it. Chinese drug maker Shanghai Fosun Pharmaceutical has said it's willing to provide the BioNTech vaccine doses to Taiwan. But Taiwan's president doesn't seem to want them. Taiwan's Minister of Health and Welfare has expressed safety concerns about Chinese vaccines. Putting it bluntly, he said, Taiwan is interested in vaccines that China isn't using. We are afraid of using vaccines that China uses. Taiwan has ordered millions of shots from AstraZeneca and Moderna as well, so far receiving about 700,000. And in other news, the lab leak theory is in the news again. US President Biden says he's asked the intelligence community to dig deeper into the origins of the CCP virus. NTD's Miguel Moreno is stateside.
We still don't know exactly how this virus that has come to kill millions of people worldwide came to be. President Biden has now called on the intelligence community to work twice as hard at finding out whether the CCP virus emerged naturally or leaked from a lab. The White House wouldn't say whether China will cooperate with an investigation.
So I understand why we want it to get done, but why do we think that China would cooperate?
You know, this is something that you have to ask the Chinese government, right? This is something that should be important. It should matter to them.
Has the president specifically asked or made this ask of President Xi of China for their cooperation in this effort?
I'm not going to go into details of private conversation that the president may have had with President Xi.
Dr. Fauci's boss testified to the Senate on Wednesday, saying the virus likely emerged from a natural process, but said a virus leak is also a possibility. In any case, the intelligence community is expected to report back to Biden in 90 days about their investigation. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.
Croatia has opened its stunning Adriatic coastline to tourists after a year of pandemic lockdowns and restrictions. The country depends heavily on tourism and is getting ready for a challenging summer.
The mood is relaxed in Rovine, and masks are scarce on this part of the Istrian Peninsula. It's part of the northernmost part of the Croatian coast, famous for spectacular beaches and thick pine forests. Hotels and restaurants are preparing for the start of the main tourist season in June. Croatia was one of the first European countries to drop most of its pandemic travel restrictions.
Well, it will be definitely a challenging year in front of us, mostly because of the pandemic situation. So as Croatia heavily depends on tourism.
New infections are dropping, and officials there predict that about 50% of the nation's 4 million people will be fully vaccinated by midsummer. But the tourist season's success will depend highly on the regulations and quarantine protocols in tourists' home countries.
The tourism sector has started with vaccination. All the employees of the hotels, restaurants, also private accommodation are getting vaccinated so they can be safe for the tourists.
The European Union is in the process of launching COVID-19 certificates. Officials say the system should be up and running by July 1st. That means European Union citizens can make summer vacation plans within the bloc's 27 nations without having to worry about quarantines. The European Commission said the certificates will be issued in digital form and are designed to be shown on smartphones.
Not known to shy away from opulence or luxury, Rolls-Royce has unveiled a new car inspired by racing yachts. Let's take a look at what the company calls a masterpiece of art.
Rolls-Royce Motor Cars unveiled its new creation, the Boat Tail. Making a debut at the company's Goodwood factory, it gets its name from the shape of its yacht-inspired rear end. The car is designed in collaboration with 3 high-net-worth customers. They agreed on a common body shape, borrowing from their shared love of elegant J-class racing yachts.
What you see here in the back is probably technically the most refined picnic facility on Earth. It is unfolding like butterfly wings and captures marvelous little details.
The Boat Tail on show features a deck that opens to reveal a champagne fridge, cocktail tables, a parasol and wristwatches by Swiss maker Beauvais 1822 that can be worn or mounted in the dashboard. Only 3 of the permanent drop heads will be made. Rolls-Royce will not reveal the client's identity or how much they paid.
And the outcome is one of the most remarkable cars ever in history. I would even say it's probably not even a car, it's a masterpiece of art and something unseen. And for that reason, I think it was worth every mile we went.
It's part of a new service called Rolls-Royce Coach Build, allowing the richest few customers to build a unique car from the ground up.
And that is history in the making. For us, Coach Build represents the utmost of pinnacle of the brand. And it is quite a rare opportunity when we invite clients to participate in one of those projects.
Clients can already personalize their vehicles with options on anything from paint containing real diamonds to installations of works of art or other high-tech gadgets. But Coach Build takes this concept a giant step further. The BMW-owned company says Boat Tail heralds the return of the glory days of the 1920s and 30s when individual coach building was standard practice at Rolls-Royce.
That's the news for today, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Stuart Lees.